Being with others is fun. People like to come together at mealtimes, enjoy each other's company while they're enjoying good food.
All of us, young or old, schooled or illiterate, are endowed by nature with the ability to live a life filled with many kinds of emotions. Whether we swallow our upset or deny them even to ourselves, we cannot do away with them. They are part of our personality.
The struggle with bulimia began when I was about 15 years old. I remember what the exact day was like when I started my eating disorder.
My eating disorder was rooted in childhood trauma, which is actually really common among eating disorders, although people don't talk about it very much in the eating disorder world. And so I had delayed onset PTSD, and I started starving myself as a way of feeling in control and strong and safe.
26, I was diagnosed with bulimia. At that time, I was a single mother of 2 young daughters.
In high school, that was when I finally had a full-blown eating disorder and had been severely depressed.
I think my eating disorder really, I've had it for about 10 years, but all my life I've been very self-aware of what I eat and how much I exercise.
I had every other physical symptom, like loss of period and everything. My BMI was still considered healthy. I actually had a lot of heavy muscle mass, so that skewed the BMI. And I had this issue a lot with doctors, where I would go and they would tell me that I wasn't that severe because of the body mass index. And so going to a doctor to tell them you're in pain because you don't eat enough, and then hearing that you're not that thin when your whole disorder kind of revolves around losing weight is very humiliating.
Misconceptions of who has eating disorders and what that looks like, and not a lot of people understood what I was going through, both in the eating disorder community because I was a mom and because I was a mom and I had an eating disorder.
So that you become very miserable, and I definitely became very miserable.
So after maybe 5 months of this, I couldn't function at all. The anxiety that caused the eating disorder was also magnified by the effects of prolonged starvation, which in turn magnified the eating disorder. And so I really felt like I was living in a horror movie.
I really isolated myself. I became very depressed. I started doing really badly in school. Everything was falling apart.
And I remember at one point not knowing if my body would hold up from the eating disorder. One of my darkest points in my eating disorder, I actually wrote my daughters a letter in case I didn't make it through.
Eating disorder not otherwise specified, which means that I have components of anorexia and bulimia.
But as soon as a doctor would see my weight, it was like nothing else mattered. I wasn't considered that sick.
I think that's what makes it really hard to get treatment, is because being in this EDNOS category, the DSM-4, which is the diagnostic manual, which is used to diagnose individuals with different diseases and illnesses, doesn't really cover EDNOS, and physicians and insurance companies are very reluctant and hesitant to provide treatment to someone who isn't specifically meets all 4 requirements for anorexia or all 3 requirements for bulimia. It's really hard being stuck in the middle when you really want to get help.
I was afraid to go to sleep because I was afraid that I was going to die and my heart was going to stop in the middle of the night. So I really didn't get a lot of sleep during this time.
I kind of describe my eating disorder as a monster whenever it comes on. It just takes over me, and like I'm not even like the person who I am. I become this girl that I don't know. You know, I get really depressed and like isolate myself and...
Hi, Frank. Hi, Judy. Hi. Can you go skating with us outside? It's just right. I don't feel like going skating. Thanks anyway.
Oh, well, okay. That's too bad. Maybe he can go tomorrow. Bye, kids.
Bye.
That's how it's been for quite some time. Ralph just hasn't had the pep that he should have. And now, Ralph begins to wonder why.
And it's very common for people with anorexic symptoms who are told by doctors, other sources, that they're not that severe because their weight isn't that low yet. It's very common for them to take that resulting shame and just lose more weight until they become emaciated, and then shun further treatment. And it's kind of odd that they treated it like a physical condition, because eating disorders are mental illnesses.
You know, eating disorders really aren't about food. It's just manifests itself in that way.
And I couldn't stay anywhere for more than an hour. I couldn't socialize. I felt like I was choking every time a man looked at me. That's actually called a body memory, so it was part of the PTSD.
Hey, who are you? I'm your mirror. I'm you, as others see you. I know what I look like. Do you know what you look like to others? Sure, I look like me. Have a good look. Hey, I look like a clown, like a sad clown. Gee, I'm really sad. That's what you look like to others. I do? How'd I get this way?
I am just one story, and I am just one person that has suffered, but there are millions of people out there that are still suffering and will continue to suffer and will suffer in the future. And whether we realize it or not, there are people in our world and people we communicate with on a regular basis that have suffered or will suffer or are suffering. And we need to be aware that this is one of the deadliest mental disorders out there, and is the most hard to treat because food is essential to live. We need to reach out to those, and we need to be supportive, and we need to encourage others to be supportive. We need to help end this epidemic of eating disorders by listening to those in the community and providing them support and giving them the means and the tools to overcome their battles.
My name is Joanna, and I am the Joy Project.
My name is Brittany Ray, and this was my story. I am the Joy Project.
I'm a mother, I'm a survivor, and I am the Joy Project.
I am the Joy Project, and together, we can make the difference.